So Tom, we've committed to solving a big problem for agents, and that's social media content. So as a company, we went ahead and we set up global pages of content and also local pages of content. And if the agents are able to supplement with their own personal stories and everything else, then boom, they've got a great social media campaign built right there.
It's not 2008 anymore. It's not 2010 anymore. It's not 2012 anymore. When there was this thought of, I probably should look at Facebook and YouTube and should I create videos, etc. Today in marketing, in a business where we want to create trust, where we want to have more referrals, we want to stay top of mind with our customers and potentially our prospects, social is a strategy that every agent has to implement. Now, the good news is, since the beginning of time, when I started back in 2007 on MySpace or my first YouTube channel, the questions I would get from people the most are, well, what content should I publish? And Chris, I'm not as creative as you. I don't know what to say all the time. I don't know what to do.
I think you are.
Well, but but that's what they would say this to me, and I'd say, well, then you should DJ everyone else's content. And their response was DJ. I'm like, well, the DJ doesn't own the music, but they're playing the music that you like, so you keep going back to them. So if you know who your customers are, if you know what their interests are, you can go find stuff on your social channels and others, news articles, music, videos that you like, and you could publish those on your channels to stay relevant and stay fresh with your customers, and most importantly, stay top of mind. So you guys were ahead of the curve on that one. To just be putting out that much both local and national and then global content allows agents to pick and choose the things that are interesting to them and republish that stuff. And that stuff really works today.
And one of the things that I really like about that too is I love this strategy of the global and the local content, but it's also easy for the agents just to simply feather in their personal stories so that if it's their kids or if it's just something else they're doing on the weekend, people can get to know them as well as know their expertise of the content that we're actually helping to provide to them.
100%. And that's interesting. We teach so much today about video and the 7 different types of videos you could publish. And the one that really gets people is number 7, where I say, just be your authentic self. Do you have a dog? Like, I literally have clients say to me, I was always nervous to publish photos with my kids or my family or at my church or things that I'm doing socially because I want people to think of me just as a professional who's selling houses all the time. And then I remind them that in real estate, we choose our agent in many cases because of their track record and the company and all the things that matter, but it's likability.
Tom, what happens if an agent, for some reason, has a scathing review? That's not fair.
Yeah.
How do they deal with that online?
How is it not fair?
Maybe there was motivations otherwise why somebody was positioning them because they're a competitor.
That can't happen on Zillow. That can't happen on Trulia. It can't happen on Realtor.com, which house the vast majority of real estate professionals' reviews. It can happen on Yelp. By the way, Yelp, I used to say Yelp's the devil, right? Because they actually thrive on negative reviews, right? Yeah. That's just how they're built. On Google, my response is whether it was on Google, Yelp, you respond to it. You respond to it. But I say to people, remember, when you respond to that negative review, don't hide from it, don't run from it, respond to it. But remember, your response is going to get read just as many times as that negative comment. You with me? So you don't go hateful. You need to say, hey, I'm sorry that you felt this way. I've helped 500 people buy and sell real estate in my 25 years, right? It hurts my heart that this experience happened to you, and if there's anything I can do moving forward to ever be of service, right, I'd love to do so. Thank you so much for giving me the feedback.
That's great. That's great information.
You know what I mean? Like there is no failure. There's only feedback, right? Like if you get a negative review, you probably did something wrong. Now, if it's on a portal, they're not going to allow that. You know what I mean? It has to be associated with the transaction, right? That was a smart move, I think, for Realtor.com and those guys to position it that way. But on Google, anything goes. On Yelp, anything goes. And on Yelp, they actually like the negative.
So what content do you think gets most engagement on social media? What would you suggest our agents post?
I was actually going to say faxing just for fun. But no, look, at the end of the day, what creates the most engagement today? You want to go by channel or you want to just know in general?
In general, what catches the eye?
Video, 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 video. In 2007, I was told by a guy named David On, who was in charge of the front page of Google. That was his job. I'm like, you're the Wizard of Oz. He's like, right. He said, tell me about what you do. And I said, I blog and I was going to start an audio podcast for BlackBerry back in 2007. He said, that's a bad idea. We just bought YouTube. Because of that one conversation, I think I became the #1 real estate coach, because I was smart enough early on to understand the power of videos, like the power of television. So I tell agents today, the same rules apply, and it's still the wild, wild west. So the more you can put out video-based content, you'll get more engagement from that than any photo or any written word blog. If I said to you specifically 2 things you should do, I say to agents all the time, grab your phone, open up your favorite social channel, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, whatever it may be, and I say, hit the live button. And they go, live button? There's no live button. I go, yeah, the one's L-I-V-E. They're like, that's live. And I'm like, oh, you're right. You know, the algorithms today say the moment you hit live and say, hey, it's Chris with William Raveis, super excited to be sitting in front of my brand new listing, 1234 Banana Street, or hey, I just met with this interesting client. They're facing, can't say the client's name, had this challenge. This is how we solved it. It was a complex situation. It was a tough negotiation, whatever it was. You tell stories about the thing that everybody's fascinated by, which is real estate, by going live. And it could just be with my kids, it could be out and about town, going for a run, or a book you just read. It could be anything that's going on. When you hit live, you get way more engagement, you get way more reach. The other one I would argue today is IGTV. Now, as we're filming this right now, I can say to you, you have probably 18 months, maybe 12, before Mark Zuckerberg and the team at Facebook recognize they are giving away tens, hundreds, thousands, hundreds of thousands of additional views for free through IGTV, because they're trying to compete with YouTube. You with me? They want to control the video space on your phone. So today, if I was an agent, I'd be shooting 1 minute to anything over a minute, minute 20, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever you want to do. Test videos every day and publishing it on IGTV. Right? You just hit the little button, IGTV, add the video, draw a little caption, and hit go. It's got to be over 1 minute long, which I know for some agents will feel like 43 years. But whether you're shooting behind the scenes, hey, we're preparing to list this new property, we're about to launch this new listing, and you're talking about the things you're doing to get the home ready for sale. You're talking about a complex negotiation, a challenging transaction, a day in the life for a real estate agent, going out looking at homes, previewing some of the most expensive properties in your area, whatever it may be. These types of videos get a lot of engagement and a lot of eyeballs and build your brand.
Thanks for the advice. So Tom, I know that you talk about expired listings a lot. You know, in my view, when I was an agent, there was so much competition around expired listings and people all calling at the same time. Do you think it's a big waste of time to call expired listings if you're not going to go visit the house?
First of all, I can answer that question, but I want to back up. I want to remind people, there's this sort of hallucination that expired listings are hard and difficult and mean and they don't like real estate professionals. And the thing that I want to remind people of is they're not expired listings. These are human beings. These are people that put their home on the market, probably with the wrong agent, probably at the wrong price, but they were doing the best they could with the information that they had. And they put their home on the market, they went through that experience, and nothing happened. So could you imagine 6 months or 3 months of that level of disappointment, and then all of a sudden, 10, 20, 30 agents start calling you and saying, I'm the best, I'm #1, I can do it better, the last agent you picked was a knucklehead. There's a reason why there is that sort of hallucination about expired listings. Those people are upset. They had a massive unmet expectation. So beyond marketing, I would argue that the superpower for agents that really want to connect and really want to help someone that tried to sell and it didn't work out is empathy. Having some empathy for their situation, recognizing that maybe they were trying to downsize, maybe they were trying to move to Florida or someplace else. Something was motivating them to put their home on the market, right? Maybe it was to get the highest possible price. Who knows? Everyone's got their motive for action. But I would remind everybody, empathy is the superpower. And you can Google strategies to enhance your ability to be empathetic. Like, these are tactics that every one of us can learn. Read the book, Never Split the Difference, right? It's by Chris Voss. It's an amazing book just on negotiations. And he says that tactical empathy is the most important strategy you need for negotiations. So enough on that. Back to, should you call? Should you do direct mail? I've been doing this for a long time. We used to help people create firecrackers that they would drop off, these big round tubes with all the letters inside. I've told people, go get like 25 Tiffany boxes, right? You know, the beautiful blue Tiffany box, and put a sold sign inside there, put a handwritten note inside there, put your marketing strategy inside there, because you got to do something to stand out. And they would literally, in Miami, in New York City, not New York City, because you can't ring the door, right? In Miami, and they'd knock on the door or have someone else knock on the door and hand somebody the package. Think about that degree of separation. If everybody else is calling, and everybody means 10, 20, 30 people, so it's not really everybody, right? Yeah. Could be 5, especially if it's in the high end, because less people do it. That package being delivered is an instant degree of separation. It's instantly memorable. So am I telling everybody to run out to Tiffany's and go buy? No. It could be a Federal Express envelope, right? It could just be knocking on their door. It could just be taking the time to really understand their property, what homes it's sold for around them, and really know the local market and come in with a more customized approach and requesting 15 minutes from that person. I just tell people at the end of the day, expireds aren't angry, right? It'd be like if I called my wife and said, we're going away on a romantic weekend and I didn't come home for work and I was missing for 72 hours. That'd be a massive unmet expectation. She'd be all angry as get up. And then if I called her 72 hours later and said, oh, baby, I love you. I'm sorry it didn't work out, but I found another place and let's go. She'd be guarded, which is the same way an expired listing is going to be. That human being is going to be. So start thinking of them as just someone that tried to sell, it didn't work out. Can I help them, right? So whether you want to call, you want to go on LinkedIn, you want to go on social, people are searching their names and saying, I can get Chris on Facebook, on Instagram, I can send him a DM, I can send him a message. Agents are doing that stuff today and getting tremendous results.
With expireds.
With expireds. And at the end of the day, you got to do something that makes you stand out. One of my top clients on the West Coast, number 15 in the world on the Wall Street Journal list for teams in volume. Average sales price about $3.5 million. 22% of all of his business is expired listings. Because in the high end, guess what? Lots of properties get listed for a year or 2 or 5 or 10. And he says, look, I'm the best at repackaging and repositioning your property to get you maximum exposure. You've tried everything else. He does, over the top videos. He really focuses on distribution. People have seen his videos. He would even burn, even in an environment like this, a DVD and send it to him and say, this is the type of video I would do on your home, and I'd get it broadcasted around the world. So the key to agents today is you got to be innovative. You got to be willing to try something different. If everybody's calling and using the same script, call and use a different script, right? If everybody's only calling in the morning, call in the late afternoon, call them on Saturday, call them on Sunday. Do something different so you stand out, because that's how you win.
So Tom, on expireds, I've heard from a lot of agents that they don't like to go around and knock on doors because maybe the neighborhood's not appropriate for it. However, I've also heard stories that people who have done that have had success regardless of what others may think.
I mean, here's the thing, right? We're human beings. We got 5 senses. I know some of us have 6, right? Like I only got 5. But if you got 5 senses and I can get more of those working in my favor, right? That's a degree of separation. It's a huge advantage. When I'm over the phone, all I have is hearing. So really, even though I'm a telephone guy, like it's been my entire life, 2 headsets, making phone calls, I'm still only really 20% effective. The moment I get face to face, all senses are working. They see my smile, they get my smiling eyes, right? I can be a little more gracious, right? It's a little less, like, well, what did he really say over the phone, especially today with cell phones? So it's a huge advantage. And what I would argue is, when you're doing it, I understand if you say to me, Tom, I'm super busy, I don't have time for it. I would argue, okay, why don't you carve out the 2 or 3 you're going after, do it 4 o'clock to 6 o'clock, Monday through Friday, Saturday mornings, Sunday mornings, really good. All the data just shows, Monday through Friday, knock on doors between 4 and 6, you'll talk to way more people, right? But I say, don't just go knock on that door, go knock on 2 or 3 other doors. Hey, you saw this property, it was on the market, it didn't sell. I'm just curious, have you guys had any thoughts of selling, right? Asking questions to the community and warming up there, then go see the expired. That's what the best agents do.
So Tom, what about in the high end?
So most of my clients are in the high end. What if I told you that I've got clients in La Jolla, California? It's $2.5 million for a 3-bedroom, no bath, with a peekaboo ocean view. If you're standing on the toilet looking out the window, right? Like I think of Maxine Gallants, one of my personal clients. She's 81 years old. She's been selling real estate for almost as long as I've been alive. And she'll say to me, Tom, I got over my ego a long time ago. If I have a buyer and there's no homes on the market and they tell me where they want to live, I will go knock on those doors every day of the week. And she said, and I love doing it because if you're a good agent and you've established a good brand and you knock on their door, they're like, oh my goodness, you're Maxine Gallants, right? Now she does the same thing with expired listings. Hey, this is an expired listing. It's in my area. It's where I like to dominate, and I didn't get the listing. They listed with the out-of-town agent or the agent that doesn't know what they're doing, and they overpriced it and didn't expose the property. She's like, I almost feel like it's an obligation. She's 81. This is a woman that doesn't have to work. She's been done financially for a long time. Her commitment to the customer, her commitment to her business trumps that little ego talk that says, this doesn't work in my area, or you don't understand my clients, or all that's a bunch of rubbish. That's just a story you say to yourself to keep yourself safe. I want to remind you, it's like 2020 now, and the lizard brain that you have in your head, if you read about that, you're talking about stuff from 1,000 years ago, 10,000 years ago, when you walked outside and a saber-toothed tiger would get you. Well, there's no client that's going to get you. They just want to sell their house. You know what they need? They need someone like you that they trust. They need someone that's willing to go the extra mile, that's willing to do the things that everybody else wouldn't do to get their home sold. And you know what I find, especially in the high end? The people you're talking to, they respect that. Because if they built a business, they built it doing things differently. Right. They built it going out and providing more value and more service for their customers, and that's how they got to that place in their life. So when they see agents doing the same thing, it alters their perception. They think, hey, this guy's got it. This gal's got it. She's willing to do this. She'll do whatever it takes to get the job done. They respect that.
Good points.
They respect it.
Good points. Thank you. So, Tom, what are some of the biggest challenges facing agents today?
We talk to about 18,000 people a month from around the world in real estate, meeting people that are interested in our services. And we're asking a lot of questions. So when you ask me this, I'm not just giving you some theoretical, I'm telling you of the last 375,000 people we've spoken to over the last 3 or 4 years. It's not marketing. It's managing their money.
How much money should they reinvest?
Well, let me go a little deeper. You ready? Most people that get into real estate, maybe they came from corporate America. Most didn't. For many people, real estate is a second or third job, right? It's the second or third career. No one taught them to have a budget. No one told them, hey, you might want to incorporate. That's a good idea. So what happens is they get that check for $10,000 and they go, oh my goodness, right? Like $10,000. And they actually think that $10,000 belongs to them. Well, that's not the case, right? A smart agent today is going to take that check, they're going to deposit it, it's automatically going to send 35% to their tax account, right? So when Uncle Sam calls, you're ready. Then they're going to take at least 30% and put it into their business account to run their business, to grow their business, and the balance goes to the home account to cover all their expenses and bills. Now, I know as I say that, there's going to be an agent that goes, oh my goodness, Tom, like, sometimes I'm living check to check. I can't afford to do that. Well, part of the problem is because they don't do the 30% to their business. You see, the game today is, how do I build a business that's repeatable and scalable? How do I build a business that's repeatable and scalable? The answer is, you've got to invest money into marketing and advertising to get your past clients in Sphere to stay top of mind, so they send you more referrals and do more direct transactions. And then I want to have multiple lead pillars: a geographic farm, open houses. I want to do some ad spend digitally. I want to create more social content and boost it out. All this requires a capital investment. So, like, what comes first, chicken or the egg? Most people get into real estate because they say, what a great business. I can sell these beautiful, big monster houses and it's not going to cost me anything to get started. Well, that's a lie. Right? There's an 87% failure rate in our industry for the 31 years that I've been in it. 87%. And I would argue that the big reason, beyond maybe some of them their psychology, is they don't invest in their business. They think to themselves, I can go make several $100,000 a year and do it without a CRM. Do it without a database. Do it without marketing exposure. I mean, listen, if you find that business where you can make hundreds of thousands of dollars a year and not put anything into it, sign me up for that program. I would love that business, right? A good business, a good real estate agent's business should have a 50% profit. 50% profit. Now, if you get more than that, outstanding, but that means some of that money that's not your tax account is going into marketing, going into advertising, going into your direct mail, maybe hiring an assistant, maybe upgrading your technology, running your car and everything else you can through your business inside that business account, right? I think one of the greatest things that we've done and others have done is we've provided sample P&Ls, a profit and loss statement, for agents to see how much money should I spend on marketing. We say 10% minimum. Whatever your top line revenue goal is, your GCI gross, and to do, $100,000 after the company split, 10% minimum. But if you're in a rapid growing environment, it could be 15 or 20%, right? It could be 15 or 20%. Then you're going to have all the other typical MLS association dues. All that stuff's going to all be factored inside there. They're running it like a business. And in business, what do we know? It's all innovation and marketing. The second you stop innovating to serve the customer in a unique way, you become, the way I describe it is, walk down a potato chip aisle, right, in a grocery store. Which one do you choose from, right? There's dill pickle potato chips. I just saw that one recently. I'm like, dill pickle, how do you stand out? Well, the agent's got to spend some money to stand out. They've got to advertise to stand out. They've got to innovate to stand out. So all business is innovation and marketing. And if you think you can't market, right, say that to your customers. I'm going to list your house, but I'm not really into that marketing thing, right? That's just not going to fly. So I say to agents, again, 35% of every dollar you earn should go into a tax account, right? Don't get behind in your taxes. That one always scares me with people. I'm like, you got a $10,000 check, you don't actually have $10,000. You with me? You got $6,500-ish. That goes there. 30% goes to run my business, to reinvest, to grow, to stay relevant, to have the tools, to all the things that I need to build a thriving, repeatable, and scalable business, and the balance goes to my home account. When you do that, a lot more money is going to go to the home account and create the wealth that you want.
Right. So most of the agents I know love real estate and got into the business because they wanted freedom.
How did that work out?
How does that relate to business and accountability?
So, I'm in the accountability business, and what I say to agents is, the more accountable you are, the more money you make. And they're like, but Tom, that's not why I got into real estate. I got into real estate because I wanted freedom. And I'm like, how's your income? And they're like, well, it's not that great. And what I remind them is, accountability is everywhere, right? I have accountability when I say to my wife, I'm going to go into real estate full time. And she's like, well, what does that mean? Well, that means if I don't kill, I don't eat. And then my wife says, I'm going to hold you accountable to making sure you kill a lot so we eat a lot because we don't want to die. That's a level of accountability. Another level of accountability is every time someone says, list my house, right? So do you avoid that? They say, I don't like accountability. And I say, well, wait a minute. Then the buyer that's waiting on you to go find them a property, to represent them, to negotiate on their behalf, and to close these crazy transactions, that's a level of accountability. So what I tell people is, it's very simple. People that are really successful have a lot of layers of accountability. And people that suffer in business, not just in real estate, in business, what they do is they avoid the accountability, right? I don't want to have my butt on the line, if you will. I don't want to take that listing because then I'm obligated to actually get it sold. I know that sounds silly, but that's the correlation. I study a lot about wealth in the US. And when you look at the most recent stats that say basically 80% of Americans will end up flat broke and dependent upon the government. And I think to myself, here we are in one of the greatest economies we've ever seen, and yet there's people today that have not figured out how to make money, how to bring value to the marketplace, and how to save money. I call that a massive lack of accountability, 80%. Then you look at the 15% that are basically, just call it, they paid off their house, they've got a net worth of $750,000, and that group, they're set for life. Why? Because they had a little more accountability than everybody else. But then when you look at the uber wealthy, and I'm not talking about the 1%ers, just people that are $3 million and above in net worth, that's the uber wealthy. What do they have? More accountability. They have an assistant, they built a business, they have a team, they've got customers, they've got suppliers, they've got family. Everybody's relying on them to produce. That's called accountability. So what I say to people is, look, you have a choice. Do you want to be a part of the 80%? you want to be loosey-goosey, carefree? No one can tell me what to do. I'm an independent contractor. I'm like, you're going to die. You're not going to make a lot of money, and then you're going to end up getting a job, right? You're not going to be happy here. You have to apply layers of accountability if you want to achieve extraordinary success. It's not just the athletes that inspire us. It's everyday business people. The guy or gal that owns the dry cleaner down the street, right? The person that took the risk to buy an apartment building to rent it out at $1,000 a door, right? There's layers of accountability everywhere. The more you accept it, the more you embrace it, the more you ask for it, the more you take it on, the greater results you get. Now, what is it? Is it Pearson's law? Whatever you track and measure improves. Whatever you track and measure improves. Whatever you track and measure improves. And then when you add accountability to it, the growth is geometric. So we know if you just said, I want to lose weight, right? That's one thing. But if you tell 10 friends you want to lose weight, that's a layer of accountability. If you say to them, every time you see me, ask me, did I work out today? That's a layer of accountability. That's where you get the geometric growth. I mean, if I was an agent right now and I was watching this video, I would literally say to myself, where in my life am I underperforming? Like, is my relationship as good as it could be? Is my health and vitality as good as it could be? Is my business as good as it could be? Are my finances as good as it could be? Am I just missing some accountability? What if I put my butt on the line? What if I told people what I was committed to? What if I was willing to do that and ask for help? Ask for my manager just to say, did you sell a house this week? Like, whatever it is. Every time that happens, growth.
So Tom, what you're saying is that if we could actually have our management team involved as a partner, which is our strategy for our agents, if they accept that level of accountability in meeting with their management team, their business will go up.
Yes. I was quasi-banned from a very large real estate company many years ago because I was asked to speak to all the managers of this national franchise. And I said to them, management as we know it is dead. Long pause. All the managers in the room. I said, today, you're either coaching people to greatness or you're pushing paper. That's the deal. I mean, we're in the people business. Right. Now, guess what? Coaching is also deal doctoring, which so many great managers do, your company and everyone else, right? You got to do that. But like today, it's about people, right? It's about moving people forward. It's finding out individually what inspires every person that I have inside my office. How do I get into their heads and into their hearts and help them achieve another level of greatness? Like, that's leadership today. That's management today. Yeah. And you guys were onto something when you declared that.
Yeah, absolutely, Tom. And that's my focus. That's our entire management team's focus. And I think that's the winning formula.
I agree.